Okay, here we go. Uh, Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining another episode of Horror Hangouts, a special afternoon edition, at least for those of us here in the colonies, we'll say, here in the United States or Canada, or wherever you happen to be watching. It's a little bit early evening for those of you watching from Europe, but we have a uh, special episode. We're going to be talking about our favorite European horror movies. And of course, European horror movies are been going since the beginning of even before America started making movies. If you go back as far as back as Nosferatu from 1922, which was a German film, so it's been and of course I would say European horror has its own little look to it, its own feel to it versus American horror. So we're gonna dive into that. We have kind of a good mixed panel. We have three colonists, myself, Molly, and George. And
Hello.
then from the UK, we have Beverly from Beverly's Horror Corner, who I had on last year. I remember we talked about her book, which was, and I'm gonna like end up butchering the name of your book. So why don't you let everyone know the name of your book, the A to Z horror movies, the ones that are so bad or so good, something along those lines, I think.
Yes, it's the A to Z of the so bad they're good, the bad and the ugly horror films.
There we go. Also from England, we have from the Hellish Fuse Substack page, we have Harry Evans. How are you doing today, Harry?
Yeah, I'm good. Boiling, but good. Yeah, happy to be here to meet everyone.
And then from Ireland, we have Laura from the Pale Horse. If I misspelled that in the description, sorry about that. Which I know I did because, well, I'm the king of typos. How's it going, Laura? Nice to have you back on.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, I'm delighted to be here.
Excellent. And of course, George, I had you on it was just about a couple months ago, our big Friday night one that we did where I brought in. You were like my first guest that came on, and you were the last guest. You stayed for nearly almost 4 hours, so you were certainly the trooper of the night there besides me. Hope you're doing well today.
Yep, doing very well. I stayed for the whole party.
You certainly did. What a party that was. So, and then of course we have Molly Oblivion. How's it going, Molly?
Pretty good. Also boiling, but alive. So
Yeah,
good.
it's about. I'm looking at my outdoor thermometer. It's about 90 degrees, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
not humid, and we have a nice little breeze. And I'm in the shade, so it's not too bad. But I know about a month or so from now, I'll be back indoors because it'll be 100 degrees, and by that time, that's like, Okay, so we're just gonna go around the corner. I'm gonna start with you, Laura. Why don't you name one of your favorite European horror films?
It's like so hard for me to pick because I think all of my favorite horror films might be European. But I think if I was to pick one, like that probably impacted me the most, it might be The Wicker Man, I think, which is probably an obvious choice, but I just feel it's so like it's really important. It's really has it kind of is the blueprint in some ways for folk horror. Um, and I think it just touches on loads of themes. It also has held up so well over the years. Like, I mean, even if we watch it now, it still looks so great. But I stayed up too late one night when I was about 12 and saw it on TV, and I remember it just really got under my skin. I didn't know why it creeped me out so much until the end. I won't Should I spoil it? I don't know. Also, I assume everybody has seen it, but it was just something so uncanny and weird about the whole thing, but also pretty familiar because it's set like not in Ireland, but in a very pagan kind of rural community, which felt familiar, but also weird and strange. So yeah, it's probably The Wicker Man for me if I was to like really think about it. But also, I mean, it's hard. Next week it could be a different one,
I think The Wicker Man's a great choice. I mean, it's a classic choice. I think you can't go wrong with it,
Yeah.
Yeah, and Nicolas Cage was so awesome in it. Oh, you were talking about the other Wicker Man. I'm sorry.
I mean, I think the remake has a certain charm.
It's fun. It's a fun movie.
Particularly the bees scene.
Yeah, I think it has that very specific charm that's reserved only for Nicolas Cage horror movies, I think, definitely.
Yeah.
Nail on the head. That's what it is. It's only for him. He saves it a little bit, I think.
He does.
Anyone else have some thoughts on The Wicker Man? George, you just watched it and wrote an article. You have any thoughts on The Wicker Man?
Yeah, it's a great movie. Christopher Lee is great in it. He's like the nicest psychopath you'd ever want to meet, and I love the music of the movie. Actually, there are a bunch of really great bunch of great songs in the movie. So yeah, it's a great movie.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Harry, you have any thoughts on Wicker Man?
Absolutely love The Wicker Man. I did a screening of The Wicker Man when I was at uni, actually. It's just so good. I think probably my top 3. Fire Leap is a really good song. Well, speaking of the music, that's the one that I always go back to when they're jumping over the fires just before we just go to see Lord Summerall. At least in one of the versions, because obviously you see him before that in the extended one. But even so, just a 10 out of 10 really for me.
Excellent. Yeah, Hans Pritchard just said, yeah, I think Nicolas Cage is a subgenre in himself, no matter what movie it is.
I'm glad Hans here. Yeah, he really is. He really is. I remember watching the show Community, where Shirley said that Nicolas Cage was a Cenobite, an angel to some and a demon to others, and that's the only way that you can describe him.
It's so true. It's so true. He is a subgenre.
Yep. No one does it like Nicolas Cage for sure. Beverly, what was your thoughts on The Wicker Man? The original one, of course.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, so I'm practicing Wiccan. I have been for 30 odd years, so obviously that impacts me in a different way that it might be for other people. But what I find really interesting though about the film is that both religious sides take it as their own, because pagans love it because it promotes paganism, even though it does look at the darker side that obviously we don't actually sacrifice people. But Christians actually love it as well because it has that martyrdom of the main character, and so they also see it as a positive thing. And it's really interesting that actually that film it doesn't sit on one side or the other, which it could quite easily do. It's very balanced, and I think that's one of the strengths about it. And a couple of years ago, at a horror con, Robin Hardy's children have done a documentary about the filming of The Wicker Man, because apparently their father is not a very nice person, and it all accumulated in this film, and it took them years to actually watch the film because it was a breakdown of their parents' marriage while he was making the film and this and that. And I haven't heard anything of it since they announced it for HorrorCon, but I think people might actually enjoy that when that actually comes onto into the screenings and stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I didn't know any of that.
That's good. Yeah, Wicker Man. That one, I remember the first time I watched it, I was like, God, this movie is just really, really weird. And then, but I was on board because you got Christopher Lee in it. You have Ingrid Pitts in that movie as well, who I know from like several, also a veteran of the Hammer horror films. So, but I was intrigued with the story and where it went, and then I started seeing the horror in it, and I got it, and that's a good thing about good point Beverly made about showing the contrast amongst your basically mainstream Christianity with this Wiccan type of faith that they believe in. And of course, I was like someone who over the past month I did a lot of research into Wiccan beliefs and witchcraft to prepare for one of my short stories that I wrote. So certainly I almost have a lot more reverence for it than I do any other, not more than any other mainstream faith that's out there, really. So learned a lot from that. And Wicker Man, yeah, definitely a classic. I'm not surprised it got mentioned here. I figured that'd be one of them that get mentioned. So
I just think that's such an interesting point about the film being beloved by both pagans and Christians. I really had never known that or thought about the fact that, Beverly, when you mentioned the martyrdom in the film, that appealing to a Christian audience in a way that I just had never really thought about before. It really makes me want to go back and watch it and try to imagine seeing it through that lens, because I think a lot of us watch it sort of from the other side of that. So yeah, I'm very curious to go back and watch The Wicker Man now with that in mind. That's very cool.
I've got to ask, actually, on that note, you know how there are two different openings, and you see him in the church, and then either you see that or you see him just go straight to the island. Which do we prefer? Because I feel like straight on the island is a very different tone.
Yeah.
I've only seen that version. I didn't know there was one of him in the church. I hadn't seen that version yet.
I think you see his fiancée possibly as well.
I think the fiancée is only mentioned, but you hear a lot more of the banter of him at the police station beforehand, because he's being mocked by his fellow workers about his faith. And there's a line, something along the lines of, his wife will spend more time on her knees in church than she will on her knees in the bedroom.
Harsh.
Yeah.
I always think it's good to start as close to the action as you can. So I like the airplane version better.
Me too.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that I've ever seen that version. I don't think.
I don't think so either.
Must be like a very rare version to find, I'm guessing.
Well, the DVD that I've got has both the theatre and then the director's cut on it, and I think the difference is it's less than 10 minutes difference between the two, so there's not a lot of difference between the two. I think it's the opening, and then there's another in. One of the songs is removed, so I think Johnny isn't in all versions.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Very good, very good. So, I guess I'll go on to you next, Molly. What's a favorite European horror film for you?
Well, kind of, as Laura was saying, it's kind of hard for me to pick. Not necessarily because all my favorite horror films are European, because let's face it, I love Canadian slasher movies. That's my favorite genre. So most of my favorite movies come from Canada. But when I was looking through a lot of the European horror films I love, most of them come from Spain. And it was really hard for me to narrow down because I wanted to kind of represent different countries in my choices. And so I'm like, God, what is one Spanish film that I would pick above all the others? And so I have chosen The Last Days, directed by David and Alex Pastor from 2013. If any of you have seen it, it is a movie that's really personal to me, and I think it's probably one of my favorite post-apocalyptic films ever made. It's just a really incredible Spanish film that I don't hear talked about very often. So that would be, I think, my first choice. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the title of that one again?
So it's called The Last Days. It was released in 2013. It was shot in and around Barcelona, and it's about, the reason it's such a personal film to me is that it's essentially the only movie I've ever seen that turns agoraphobia into the villain of the story. And as an agoraphobic, that really hit hard for me, you know. And it kills me too, because you would think that agoraphobia would be such a rich area for horror storytellers, and it really isn't. They just don't touch it very often, and when they do, they tend to get it wrong. And what The Last Days does is it's this post-apocalyptic viral event where people are being infected with essentially debilitating fear, and if they go outside, they die. And David and Alex Pastor, they shot this sort of kind of toward the end of the film, without spoiling anything, we actually get to kind of step into the main character, the protagonist's eyes as he steps outside, and we see visually what that panic feels like. And I've never in my life seen a filmmaker, or a pair of filmmakers rather, really demonstrate what it feels like to have a panic attack. And The Last Days really nails that. So it's just, to me, it's scary because I live it. But I think that it also works on a more universal level too. And it's great commentary for kind of the world we live in now, where everyone is so isolated, and we're seeing a sort of rise in social anxiety and turning that into a kind of monster. So yeah, totally recommend The Last Days. I love it.
I'll definitely put that one on. I knew you would pick something I've never seen, which you often do, so that's another one to add to my list there. Has anyone else here seen The Last Days?
I don't think so, but I'm really excited to check it out. I love finding an obscure, and recommendations, I think, are always where I find the best films. So I'm really excited to check it out. I think it rings a bell, though your description of it, the storyline, I'm not sure I have. So I need to watch it.
I hope that if any of you check it out, you really enjoy it. Like I said, it's not like a deeply terrifying film, but I really like the Pastor brothers. I think they're very talented, and it's just such a unique movie in terms of taking a story we've all seen. You know, big city, everybody gets sick, people kind of turn into sort of like zombies, sort of, not really. They just get really scared, and the panic kind of makes them crazy. And so, yeah, it's just taking this like kind of standard formula, this post-apocalyptic formula, and doing something really unique with it. It's a beautiful movie too. Barcelona's such a beautiful city, so yeah.
Excellent. Well, excellent choice there. Oh, Kimberly's watching us.
Hi, Kimberly.
I need to add that to the list too. We'll have her on next month's show. So it's gotten to the point where I've like grown my cast of characters here that I've got to start rotating everyone in, or else I'm going to have like 18 people on all at once. So, which I don't think I'm even able to do that. But I would get a panic attack if I did that. So,
yeah.
Okay, George, what's one of your favorite European horror films?
Well, let me turn this up. I like Giallo, but I'll pick something newer. I'd say Let the Right One In. I think is a great movie. I like vampires and vampire stories, and I think it's a really good one. I also think it's a movie where you have like the monster and you have the emotional stakes, and then they kind of merge at the end. And I also like that the ending is kind of ambiguous. You know, is it a happy ending? I watched the movie. I don't really think it is a happy ending, but you know, it's for the kid that might be, you know, his best option actually. So I don't really know, but I think it's. I also like it. It's a very creepy movie, and it's kind of like the vampires in the movie don't sparkle, and it's also that it's kind of obvious that what you have there is you have like an old man in a child's body, and it's a very creepy movie. I thought it was very affecting.
Yeah, I agree with that. I just watched that for the first time, and I'm talking about obviously the original version just a few years ago, and because everyone I saw on YouTube were saying, "Oh, you need to watch this," and so I did, and yeah, I love that scene in the pool, that head floating below there. But yeah, that's an excellent choice. Anyone else have any comments on Let the Right One In?
It's a fantastic movie. Wonderful movie.
I love it. I think it's amazing. I've read the book as well. I actually had to stop reading the book because it was so upsetting. Like, I think,
Oh wow.
I think in the book it really builds up how badly he's being bullied, and I find bullying like really difficult to watch. I think sometimes in film. So yeah, but I think the movie is beautiful, and it's because as well it really like subverts all of your expectations. Like what you think it is completely different. It just keeps twisting and like turning the whole way, but as well it's shot really beautifully. There's so much tenderness and heart in it as well, which is like a really beautiful kind of thing. And that was on my list of my favorites. I really adore that film. I think it's great. I'm not sure if I've seen the remake of it though, now that I'm thinking. I don't think I have.
I haven't. I normally. I'm going to get on a soapbox later towards the end about American studios trying to remake European horror films, but we'll save that towards the end. But some of you might even know which movie I'm talking about. But anyhow, Harry, give me one of your favorite European films.
Alright, I'm going to have one serious answer and one non-serious answer, which I know is unfair. I couldn't decide. I've got to have Carry On Screaming in there, because it's just hilarious. Like, I don't know if you've all seen it, but it's hysterical. Just endlessly revisitable, endlessly silly. It's just classic. And my other answer is probably going to be The Innocents from the 60s, which is the kind of the screw,
Okay.
isn't it? The novel. Super creepy. As a double bill with The Haunting, just phenomenal. I think for me with The Innocents, it's just there's a lot of like moral quandaries as well as all like the supernatural stuff that's happening. It just feels very layered, and the black and white has so much to get all. And it's got a terrifying poem in, which don't all the good movies have a nice creepy poem? It's just brilliant. So yeah, I think those would be my go-to off the top of my head. I've got a whole list though that I made for just in case.
Oh, I know it's hard to pick for sure. I don't think I've seen The Innocents, but I haven't seen. What was the other one you first mentioned?
Carry On Screaming. It's more of just like a comedy, really, but it is a horror comedy.
Okay.
And as horror comedies go, it's top 3. It's like that, Parker and Dale, and like Army of Darkness, maybe, or Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah.
I'm adding that to my watch list immediately.
It's a banger.
Is that one a British film?
Yes, yeah.
Because one thing you British do very well is comedy, because I'm a huge fan of Monty Python's, and
yes.
So if it's that type of comedy plus with some horror into it, I think I'll be game for that one for sure.
I think you'd enjoy it. It's very crude, but it is a lot of fun.
Have you met me yet? But excellent choices there. Beverly, what's one for you one of your favorites?
I'm so glad you brought up Carry On Screaming, because I was like, everybody's picking these really serious choices, and I've completely gone down the camp route, because that is my brand. So the first film I'm going to pick is a film called Slugs, which again is another Spanish horror film. It's based on a book by Sean Hudson, And as the title suggests, it's about killer slugs. What more do you want in life? It's got over-the-top acting. It's got one of the best death scenes that you'll ever see in a restaurant. And it has a conclusion that just literally explodes off the screen. It is amazing. My only disappointment is I'm a huge Sean Hudson fan. I've been lucky enough to meet him at a HorrorCon. The book has one of my best death scenes ever happened in anything I've read, and they didn't include it in the film.
Aww.
Well, to be fair, it did include, so the slugs in the book either eat you, or they enter various orifices, go to your brain, and make you a killer. So while a couple are having sex, a slug enters passage of the gentleman. He gets the lady's vibrator and shoves it down her throat until it strangles her to death. I can't think why they didn't put that in the film. But
This is
that's
from-
the tone of the film, though.
So this is from 1988, right?
Let me just double check the year. I've got it listed.
I'm looking at what I think is the cover art for the film, and this is absolutely fantastic. I love the tagline too. It's just they ooze, they slime, they kill.
Yep. And it has.
Adding that to my watch list so fast.
And because it's dubbed as well, some of the line delivery isn't great. It adds into the value of it.
Oh man, it's sad that it's dubbed. I have such a hard time watching dubbed films. It's actually one of the reasons why I haven't watched more Giallo. I know George mentioned that, loving Giallo. I have such a hard time with dubbing. I'll have to suffer through it.
But there's a line where there's a police officer is sort of doing the investigation, and he just says the line just out of nowhere, "You don't have authority to wish anybody a happy birthday." And you're like, what? Do anything. So I don't know if it's a translation issue or what. It's just pure cheese. And if you get on the premise of killer slugs, you'll love it.
That's amazing. Gonna have to check that one out for sure. Well, one I'm gonna pick, and I'm going to great nation of Italy, and I was like trying to go back and forth because I'm hoping the one that I wasn't planning on discussing that someone's going to bring it up. If not, we'll bring it up towards the end. But the one I'm going to go with is the one that really started it all for Italian horror, and that's Mario Bava's 1960s Black Sunday. Mm-hmm. Also, alternatively called The Mask of Satan, which I guess they decided not to use that title here in America because it would have scared too many people away. I don't know, but I mean, as far as I love Gothic horror and Italian Gothic horror especially. The look of that movie, it has the look and feel of the old Universal films, but you can tell it has a little bit of an edge to it because during the 60s, right about that time, because that's also the same year Psycho came out, you could see that movies were starting to push the envelope a little bit with blood, with the content, with the subject matter. And, the opening scene of Black Sunday is one of those things like, wow, I would have loved to have been in the theater during that scene because that was probably considered pretty gruesome for its time. But it's just a movie I really love, and it's kind of it was also the start of Barbara Steele's career, who did a string of these Italian horror films, and I'd have to say, I could be wrong, but she's probably one of the first actresses in horror, at least on a regular basis, that would get top billing in these films, which was probably unheard of back then for women to get top billing in a horror film, but she was one of those early pioneers and probably like the queen of horror actresses, really, when you think about it. So I always said she plays both the villain and the heroine in that movie. plays two different characters. I always thought she was best at playing a villain, because she could probably easily seduce any of us guys like that, no problem. So, yeah, Black Sunday, that's one of my favorites.
It's a really good choice.
I jumped at the opening scene.
Did you?
Oh yeah, and I watched the movie 2 months ago.
Yeah, right. Okay, well, back to you, Laura. What's another one of your favorite European horror films?
I'm going to go with Possession. And I think you wrote about Possession recently, right? I love Possession. I wrote
That is correct.
Like, I love I only watched it for the first time probably a year and a half ago. I was like, I'm going to go spend a week going through some horror films that, like, I haven't seen. And, like, that just, like, blew me away. I think it's incredible. I think where it's set in Cold War Berlin is, like, beautiful. It's so stark. Isabella Adjani is, like, amazing. And Sam Neill, who is another, like, horror just, like, king. He's, like, incredible. You know, he's, like, so brilliant in everything that he's in. But in that, it's so intense. I was, like, so on edge for the entire movie. And it's pretty mean-spirited. But I also love that there's, like, a lot of surrealism and weirdness. And I don't know what's happening. Like, that's, I think, one of my favorite things about a horror film is when I really have no idea what's going on. But yeah, Possession for me, I mean, the performances, and I think they were really trying to say a lot of really deep stuff in it. So yeah, I love it. I think it's great.
Yeah, it's really rare that I'll see movies listed online, you know, like lumped in with lists of like the most disturbing horror movies ever made. And I'll go and I'll watch them. You know, and especially when you've lived your whole life watching horror movies, you just get a little desensitized and you're like, really? That's a movie that you put on that list? But Possession is one of those that I remember seeing cropping up on lists like that. And when I finally watched it, I'm like, okay, I get it. I really get why people say this is one of the most, like, just viscerally disturbing movies possibly ever made. I think, yeah, it's incredible.
It is part of the
Excellent. George, have you seen... Oh, I'm sorry.
That's right. I was just saying that Possession is one of those films that was part of the Video Nasties, which was the big thing here in the UK, where two films were deemed, you know, too horrific to be shown. And again, like Molly said, you know, I've gone through some of those films on the Video Nasties list, and you look at it now, especially post films, torture porn films, you're like, I can't find this positive. But yeah, Possession is one of those films where you go, yeah, no, you might be right at that. You know, not that I agree with banning films, but you can definitely see though why they were disturbed by that film.
Yeah, definitely.
Excellent. So, George, is that a movie, Possession, you had seen yet?
No, I'm looking forward to seeing it and dreading seeing it at the same time.
I think that's an appropriate response. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there are certain movies that have a rep. So you know, I do watch them. It takes me a little while sometimes.
How about you, Harry? Have you seen Possession yet?
I have not, but it's nice to hear about a film that is disturbing and also good, because I feel like a lot of the time as horror fans we hear disturbing and it's almost kind of a buzzword for like horrible. You get like, you know, like your Cannibal Holocaust and stuff where it's just painful watching. But yeah, no, I'm quite excited, especially with the whole West Berlin aspect. That's something I'm really interested in. So I think I can really see myself getting into it. So that's high on my list.
Well, you know, Possession was a movie that was one that I was going to talk about as well. It's definitely about the most European movie you could get, because you have, let's see, Andrew Zalowski from Poland. He's the writer and director. You have Sam Neill from Ireland. Isabella Adjani from France. It's set in West Berlin, which for those of us who might be old enough to remember the Cold War and when Germany was divided, which serves as a great backdrop and also to what's going on, because you have a marriage that's falling apart.
Mm-hmm.
And what I was going to say, it's just, I think I try not to use the term best very often, but I think both Isabella Adjani and Sam Neill probably have the best performances that I can think of in a horror movie. And I know Isabella had won Best Actress for that role in the Cannes Film Festival that year. So, yes. And what I was going to have a grievances about is about, it was announced after years of speculation that they are going to try to remake Possession. It's going to be directed by the guy who, I forget his name now, but he directed Smile and Smile 2. It is going to start Margaret Qualley, who was, of course, in The Substance and did a fine job. The gentleman who's playing Sam Neill's character, Callum Turner, I've never heard of, don't know anything about him. But what really grinds my gears is this little comment this snide little director made. And I saw Smile, I thought it was okay. I haven't seen the second one, probably won't, and I definitely won't now. He made a little, what I consider to be a backhanded insult towards the original film, where he said, well, that film had a lot of gaps that we're going to fill those gaps.
Oh.
Well, dude, I'll fill your gap when I stick my size 10.5 shoe up your ass. The guy clearly does not understand the movie or horror. It's the gaps, the thing, because I know exactly what he means. He's going to give us a big backstory into that whole creature. We're going to see a scene where the creature meets Anna and all that. And it's like, I know what you're going to do, but it's like, who's this movie even going to be for? Because all of us die-hard fans of the movie will have no interest in seeing it. Younger audiences aren't going to know what's going on because they probably haven't. Hopefully they see it and then they go watch the original and goes, oh, wow, that guy really missed the boat. And it just, I rage wrote an article right after that called Enough of the Damn Remakes, in which I was like, my point of it was, American studios have a bad track record of remaking anything that's foreign, whether it's European, Asian, for the most part anyway, so why even bother? You're not going to get that same atmosphere that you got from the first film. And why don't we start, this is my last of my soapbox, I promise. Can we start, almost 100 years ago, studios, when they were doing horror, would read books, Bram Stoker's Dracula, Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, Jekyll and Hyde was based off of a book. All the Lovecraftian stuff, all the Edgar Allan Poe stuff, all the Stephen King stuff. When are studios going to sit down and start reading books and finding new stories to adapt instead of just rehashing stuff that doesn't need to be even touched anymore? So there's my, and granted, there's a lot of remakes that I did enjoy in the 2000s, but enough, stop. There's my soapbox for the day. So
no, I really do agree. I mean, I can definitely see what you're saying, and I agree that the question comes down to who is this for. I feel very on the fence about any country in the world remaking a different country's film, because I think that there are times when that is very culturally appropriate, when you have a movie that's telling a really great story, but there's a cultural disconnect between the audiences. So you want to bring it over. We see that with a lot of East Asian adaptations that are brought over here to the United States, like The Grudge and The Eye and things like that, where there are some, pretty major cultural differences that American audiences may not be as impacted by, like especially with The Eye, the Pang brothers, The Eye. I love that movie and I hate the remake, but there were a lot of American viewers who would never have even watched the Pang brothers version of The Eye, and they did get to see a kind of dumbed down version of the story through the Jessica Biel remake or Jessica Alba remake or whatever. And so, like, ideally, we would just watch foreign films. We would watch films from other countries, and that would be the norm. But when it isn't the norm, I would rather we would have these sort of, like, these cultural translations than nothing. But I completely agree with you of, like, who is a Possession remake for? The first thing that I heard when you said, the first thing I thought when you said that was just yuck. Like, why would anyone want to watch a remake of Possession? We already have the perfect version. So yeah, I think that's where it kind of becomes that issue of they're not really doing it for any cultural reason. They're doing it for the money, and they're not even going to probably make that much to boot, which is just makes it even worse. I don't know. I'm very on the fence, but I'm also a huge fan of Bollywood, and Bollywood has a habit of taking our movies and remaking them in the most ridiculous ways possible, and it's adorable. So that's why I can't totally hate on it when we do that. We have these sort of like cultural exchanges with our films. I love that in a way, but yeah, I think there's a line, and I think we need to do what you suggested and kind of find other material to adapt, It
comes down to whether or not the remake is for the love of the film or for the love of and if it's the latter, then why bother doing it? If it's the love of the film is genre, then it's
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, there was my rant that I was going to say towards the end, but I figured, well, I'm just going to jump in to do it now. So, also serving as co-producer is Mr. Sparkles himself, Robert Pattinson.
Ew.
He's like one of the...
Sorry.
Mr. Sparkles, you get it.
I'm sorry, I don't like Robert Pattinson as an actor. I'm so sorry.
I'm like
in the Lighthouse.
Yeah. Yep. He was very good in the Lighthouse.
Like the Suspiria remake, like personally, I really enjoyed the Suspiria remake. So if it's like more of a reimagining, I could maybe sit with it. But if it's like trying to like do it set in the 80s in Berlin, I just don't understand it. And I like Margaret Qualley. I think she's a great actress. But like, again, I don't know. Like, do we need it? And I do think we need new stories. Like, there's no lack of them. But I guess it's just maybe maybe they think it's a sure thing, or, it's got... I think, like, that Possession has become a little bit memeified. Like, you see that picture of Isabel Adjani, like, all the time. So I don't know if maybe it's that.
Well, and the Substance was such a financial success. I think they're trying to kind of capitalize on this little wave of body horror that we're seeing. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's also where the interest in Possession came from. Because they're like, ooh, The Substance did really well. We need to be rooting out some more like kind of movies that are in a similar vein. And I do think Possession does kind of qualify for that. So I could see why they would go for it. But yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. But yeah, and that scene, I don't know if the subway scene with Isabella Adjani as Anna, I don't know how you're gonna top that scene. I don't know how any actress could and shouldn't be made to. I mean, that's just the most intense, most disturbing scene you'll see in a movie. So
well, just remember sorry.
I was going to say, even more so, I'm sure if you're a woman watching that scene, because it's about her fighting for her own female identity in that scene. At least the way I kind of interpret it. You can interpret it a million different ways, but...
Yeah. Well, just remember, too, and I mean, I hate most remakes, so I'm really just playing devil's advocate here, I guess, but, if nothing else, there will be some young people who go to see the new version of Possession that are, critical thinkers, and they will ask themselves, where did this movie come from? And it will lead them back to the original. So that's, that's kind of a silver lining, I guess. The only silver lining to these kinds of remakes is there will be a new audience for the original film as a result of it, even if it's a small one. So that's something.
Yeah. Good point. Well, We'll see. I don't plan on watching it, but
Kimberly said the same with the Exorcist remake. Like, why? Yeah, for real.
Yeah, exactly, for sure. Well, back to you, Molly. Go ahead. What's another European horror film that you really enjoy?
Well, I thought, since Harry and Beverly were choosing what they were saying were like silly answers to help kind of join in with that crowd, I'll pick one of my silly favorites that it's going to make me lose all credibility. I know it is. But it's one of my comfort films. It's one of the least popular Hammer Dracula movies. It's Dracula AD 1972.
I had a feeling, because I remember listening to your old Spotify podcast and you did a whole episode on that.
Deep dive into that movie that nobody asked for. I loved it. It's so terrible. It's deeply, deeply terrible within the context of the Hammer Dracula series. I mean, it really is, because, that was made back when Hammer was trying to be hip. That was Hammer trying to appeal to the swinging 60s youth culture, because Gothic fiction was on its way out and Hammer was panicking. And so they were like, let's bring Van Helsing and Dracula into the swinging 60s, and it'll have this like acid jazz soundtrack, and there's going to be a lot, like a big orgy, and that's going to be like what it is. It's so, I love it with every fiber of my being, and it has definitely one of the most ridiculous death scenes for a vampire that I've ever witnessed, when one of the vampires is like, because he has this like swinging bachelor pad. I've said swinging like 3 times, I'm sorry, but he has this like swinging bachelor pad, and he gets into a fight with Van Helsing in this bachelor pad, and somehow gets backed up the stairs and stumbles into his bathroom, the only room in the house with a window, and it's a little skylight. And he stumbles into the light in the skylight, and it burns him, and then he backs up into the shower, which he turns on. And this movie follows the logic that clean running water kills vampires. So he literally dies in a shower that he accidentally kicked on with his elbow. It is freaking glorious. I love it. And it's a goofy movie, and it makes me very happy.
I'm like, I was like thinking to myself, had you been able to join like the Dracula conversation, I knew that was going to be a movie that you were going to probably pick, had you been able to join in on that one. But,
it really makes me wonder why anybody ever listens to anything I say as a film critic, because I mean, I would recommend that movie to anyone at any time, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that would hate me for it. But you also have, the classic Van Helsing and Dracula in the movie too, and there's some really great. There's a great like sort of original sacrifice scene kind of that's really cool, and there's some really cool stuff in it in addition to it being ridiculous. But yeah.
I have like a Blu-ray, and it has like 4 of the Hammer Dracula films. Horror of Dracula being one of them, and another one of them happens to be Dracula AD. They decided they were going to put that one, so they must have thought, well, this has got to be one of the top 4 best Hammer Dracula films, so we're going to put this.
I have to say, and I promise this will be the last thing I say about it, I know I'm talking a lot, I'm so sorry, but like, I really don't understand. The opening scene of the movie is you have Dracula and Van Helsing involved in a round of fisticuffs on top of a moving carriage that literally travels through time into the 1960s to acid jazz. How could anyone not love that? Like, it is so on the edge of your seat, hilarious and fabulous. Anyway, okay, I'm shutting up now, but please watch Dracula AD 1972 if you haven't. It's great.
Oh boy, I should have known that was going to be one, because I think that's like when I discovered that you had your old Spotify podcast. I like looking through there. Oh, she's talking about Dracula AD. I have to listen to this.
Well, and to be fair, though, the podcast is very similar to what I do on Substack. It's all of my goal in life is to defend undefendable movies that people hate, and bringing them into the forefront and explaining the things that are good about them and why they're not so bad that the director should kill themselves, like we read in these reviews, and so that was what the podcast was all about. But Yeah, really, it was just a way for me to exhibit my terrible taste, and I'm okay with that. So,
Yeah. And we all too. We all love you for it. So. Okay, George. What's another favorite European horror film you have?
Um, well, I'd say I like Dario Argento. So I'll say Deep Red is kind of a. I saw a version of that in the '80s that was really badly put together, and I was like, "What the hell? This movie makes no sense." And then I saw the full version, and I was like, "What the hell? This movie makes no sense." But it's 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 a really like Dario Argento is not for everybody, but what he does really well, and I admire the fact that you can see the killer's face at the beginning of the movie. He puts that in there, and that it's just kind of the deaths are kind of like operatic in some ways, you know, and he has a really distinctive style. Like I said, it's not for everybody, but with his mysteries, he usually plays fair, in that you can kind of guess. But you know, you can guess who the killer is. It's in there, like Bird with the Crystal Plumage. You know,
Right.
the killer was right at the beginning, except most people. I mean, I missed it. You know what I mean? So I think, yeah. I mean, I think that's. I'm not sure I would call that. It's a great movie, but yeah, I think it is a really good movie. I think the atmosphere is really good. It has this really, to me, like this atmosphere of creeping dread that I liked. The weird animatronic puppet. I guess some people say that Saw, the puppet from Saw, might have been inspired by that. I don't know. But I thought it was a solid movie, I think.
I agree. It's one of my. I would say I would put that one as far as Giallo movies go. It's probably in my top 5. So that's a great pick, I think. Yeah, I love that one there. The ending especially gets really, really brutal. What happens to because basically have 2 killers really, but because the mother of the one guy that's doing the killing, she gets involved in it, and it's like most of them. I mean, Giallo kind of served almost as a template for modern slashers that would happen in the United States and in Canada. You can see it all over when you look at Black Christmas or Halloween, that those are very much Giallo influenced, and I'm sure Deep Red had a big influence on those movies for sure. So it wouldn't surprise me.
And the soundtrack is awesome as well.
What was that?
The soundtrack.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh yeah,
amazing.
Goblin.
Did Goblin do the soundtrack to Deep Red too? Yeah, it's on my watch list, but I haven't seen it. Like I said, I have a hard time with Giallo because of the dubbing. Like, I can watch it, but I have to be in just the right mood. I don't know why, but ADR just annoys the crap out of me, and so dubbing just can be really difficult for me. But Deep Red's been on my watch list for a long time, and knowing that Goblin did the soundtrack to it as well, I'm going to have to watch it.
Would you be like, Molly, would you prefer then, or are you someone who would prefer to have subtitles instead?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I don't know if it's because I worked in voice acting for such a long time, but if I can tell that the voice coming out of the person is not the person I'm looking at, you know what I mean? It really grates on my nerves. And I mean, it's not even necessarily that like their mouth is moving in a way that doesn't line up with the language. It's not that. The voice doesn't match the face kind of issue that I have, I guess. And especially with like, English language dubbing of Italian films, the ones that I've seen tend to be to me, very cartoonish. And it's like I don't know, it loses a lot of that live emotion, and it just takes me out of it if I can tell that the person talking is not the person on screen. I don't know why. It's a problem that I have.
Well, I ask because I wonder if there's like an actual Italian version of Deep Red or of any of these Italian films that just includes the subtitles and has them just speaking in their native tongue?
The thing is, it's kind of difficult to find them. Like a really good example is one of my favorite zombie movies is actually exactly what I was just complaining about. It's called Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, and it was so that was a co-production between Italy and Spain. Love Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. Great freaking movie. It was recorded without live sound, which was actually relatively standard at the time in Italy. And so the whole movie is dubbed. Granted, the actors are mainly speaking English, so like their mouths line up with the words, but I don't know if the actors who recorded the dubbing are actually the same actors on the screen. I don't know. So it's weird that I love that movie so much. But the point is I learned about that the movie was not recorded with any live sound, and realized that there were a lot of Italian horror films in that era that didn't record with live sound at all. So there is no way to hear it in the native language. I don't know if it's the same with Deep Red, but I have tried to find a couple of different Giallo films with subtitles, and I've never been able to find them. So I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was just it was just something I was thinking about, because I know it's not quite Giallo, but it's Italian, the Black Sabbath. The only version I've ever seen has been one that was actually spoken in Italian, but has the subtitles. So I was just wondering
I would love that. I want to hear the native language. I want to hear the actual actors speaking, in the way that is natural to them. Like I said, I don't know why I'm like this. I have no idea. Dubbing just really
I almost have the same aversion to it's kind of similar to like found footage films. I can't watch them because of how they're shot.
We all have our things.
And that's my thing there too. So anyone else have any thoughts on Deep Red that's seen them? Laura, have you seen Deep Red yet?
I haven't seen it, and I'll tell you, the reason I haven't seen a lot of Giallo movies is the same as you, Molly. I have the exact same thing with...
I'm glad I'm not alone.
Out of it completely. I find it really jarring, and like, I can't immerse myself in it. I can't get lost in it. So it's not... And Giallo movies look so beautiful, but I can't ever... I feel like it's kind of funny and not in an actual like funny way.
They're really pretty to look at, but they're hard to get lost in. Han Pritchard actually said, it's a problem for me because you lose such a vital part of the performance when it's dubbed. What's brilliant about a movie like Das Boot is the German actors all know how to speak English and make the English version themselves. I completely agree with what Han said, because it becomes like a cartoon almost. These people aren't really emoting in a way that was like natural to the moment. And so, it is. It's very hard. I'm glad that I'm not. Thank you for saying that, Laura, because I feel a little less badly now.
No, I'm exactly the same. But and I wish I wasn't. I also wish I wasn't. But I'd love to see if there was Italian language. Like if I could. I'm fine with subtitles, but it's I can't, like, it's the emotion for me. I can't, like, it just feels disconnected. It's not even so much. It just, but I must give it a go. Like, I'll give everything that everyone's suggesting. I'm gonna watch because,
absolutely.
And sometimes it's forgivable. They dubbed Udo Kier over in Suspiria, and it was fine. So sometimes it's forgivable.
Okay. Well, let's see. Harry, are you still with us? We just can't see you.
I'm here. You just can't see me. My other laptop overheated.
Well, why don't you give us? Do you have another European horror film you'd like to discuss?
Yeah. Before I do, though, I just want to say, Jamie B was recommending me Deep Red among some other Giallo recently, so I'll probably have a Giallo series coming up. So if you have any recs, send them over, and I'll put them on the list. No, I think for me, another classic European horror film, series, is Quatermass. All the Quatermass films, just great. So you've got The Experiment, and then 2, and then Quatermass and the Pit, which is all like Nigel Neal, early British sci-fi horror. So you've got like elements of Frankenstein in there. You've got like straight up alien stuff happening. There's like some satanic stuff that goes on. It's wild. I think it was a TV show initially, but it just developed from there. But I just can't recommend it enough. It's really easy watching, and it's just interesting to see how these things develop, like the fears that people have about space and what is coming from space, and what the government are doing without us knowing. Like in the early 50s and like I think in the early 70s as well, there's just so much that's interrogated. In the pit, particularly, they're doing like an archaeological dig in the London Underground, which, like, is that not a perfect setting for a horror movie, right? Super creepy. But yeah, definitely that would be my second pick. Or third pick, I guess.
Excellent. That's another one I haven't seen. Like, the list is going to go.
Yeah.
My watch is going to shoot up.
That's what I love about these chats. My watch list always grows like exponentially every time we do these.
Well, you know, what I enjoy most about doing these things is just learning everyone's perspective on things and learning everyone's taste. And I hope those that watch us, we got 4 actually watching right now, I hope they also get something out of this, and that's why I too will occasionally write about a movie or do a quick video on a movie that people need to watch this one because it's really good. Yeah, very good. Beverly, do you have another European horror film you'd like to discuss?
Yeah, I'm going to do another campy film. Back to Italy, and I'm going to talk about an 80s horror film. This time it's by Roberto Bava. We've had Mario, we now got his son. And it's actually presented by Dario Argento, so a lot of people think it's a Dario Argento film. It isn't. Again, it's another film. Yeah, dubbing. I'm sorry. It's another film.
No, cut now.
I think we lost you, Beverly. Oh,
she
no.
Comes back.
Left us in suspense.
I'll get her back in. Give her a second to come in on there.
I can't wait to watch that Slugs movie that you recommended, so I'm really excited to hear that.
I have heard of Slugs, so it is on my list. So I'm glad she's mentioned it. Brought it back into my mind.
I remember seeing the cover of the movie in the video shop when I was a kid. Like seeing there was just lots of slugs on a body.
Yeah.
Actually,
really great artwork. Yeah.
So I think I just. So with
back.
Demons,
Welcome back.
another thing is soundtrack. It's so the soundtrack again is I have a thing for music as well. So this has a.
Oh no.
Oops.
Just crisis across the UK for.
We're never
I
going to find out what the movie is. I want to know what the movie is.
Yeah.
I think it's Demons.
Oh, Demons?
I think so.
Okay.
Oh, that's a great pick.
Oh,
See, that's a dubbed one that I can watch, but yeah.
But
Man.
well, while she's trying to get back in, I guess I'll go to my next one. And when I was like thinking up my list, I can't believe. Oh, maybe she's back here. Give her a second. Come back in.
Hello again.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. It must be this torrential heat wave in England that's causing this.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So I don't know how much of it you actually caught.
No,
What I was actually talking about.
If you want to just start in from the beginning, maybe go that way.
None of it.
Okay. me try
I'm
this.
so sad right now. I'm so sorry that she's having trouble.
Yeah.
All right. Can you hear us at least?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? Yep,
Yeah, I can hear you now.
lovely. Okay. So the film I've been trying to discuss is Demons.
Ah,
Demons, yeah, sure nailed it.
So Lamberto Bava, son of Mario Bava. Again, it's another film that's stylistically, it's got some beautiful imagery with it. But it's slightly, again, it's another campy film with some amazing special effects in it. So you have a film within the film.
Oh.
And the film that's been shown in the cinema starts affecting the people watching the film, and they turn into demons. And there's a great scene where a demon is birthed out of somebody's back, which you don't see very often. It's amazing. Again, for me, it's a soundtrack. So again, there's two alternative soundtracks. You have a soundtrack by one of the members of Goblin, but you also have a heavy metal soundtrack. So you've got bands like Black Sabbath, Blue Oyster Cult, and bands like that then also do a soundtrack, and it is just...
I didn't know Blue Oyster Cult was in the score for Demons.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Argento and obviously Lamberto Bava, son of the great Mario Bava, I think they were really big, 70s hard rock metal fans, and it's why I think Argento sought out Goblin, because they were an Italian metal band for the most part that score a lot of his movies. So it's not a surprise he'd bring in like Black Sabbath or Blue Oyster Cult into that.
Yeah.
I think that's a great choice. I absolutely love Demons. Yeah. It is dubbed, you are right, but it is one of the few that I sort of forced myself to watch kind of early on in my horror journey, because it was, within my crowd of friends, it was like it was one of their favorites. And so I just sort of had to kind of force myself to watch it. And I think it's a fantastic movie.
I got to see it in the theater.
That have demons. Oh, lovely.
What did you say, George? I'm sorry.
I got to see it in the movie theater when it came out.
That's amazing.
Oh yeah, that is a wonderful movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is. That's one that doesn't get talked enough about either, so I'm glad that's one that Beverly brought up. Demons, yeah, it's a gnarly movie for sure. It's a fun ride.
Yeah. There's not enough films with people riding motorcycles with a samurai sword decapitating zombies. I mean, we need more of those.
Oh, I need to see this.
I gotta put this one on here.
Sorry, I was reading what Han said. Yeah, great
Yeah, I'll
Avatar
put it
on. That's Ash, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I had it ready to go, just in case. Oh, that reminds me, not to hijack everything, but I just watched Evil Dead Rise today, so expect a review on that.
How was it?
I wasn't sure, but it was entertaining.
Okay. Yeah,
I like that one. That was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. So I'm kind of curious to see where they go with Evil Dead Burn. So that's coming out later this summer.
For sure.
I know tomorrow. Tomorrow for sure, I'm going to go see Obsession and see how good that is. See if it's as great as everyone's made it out to be. So I don't know if that's playing overseas yet or not.
Yeah, I think it is. I think it's here. I'd like to see it. Just hoping it hasn't been overhyped. That's all I'm hoping.
Yeah, I always get a little bit hesitant when movies get all this hype. I'm like, okay, how good could it really be? But I'll find out tomorrow. So I've been a while since I've seen a movie in the theater anyway. So
It's funny that you mentioned Dead Rise, because a lot of people said that it was basically Demons 2, because Demons 2 is
Wow,
also
really?
the set in
Mhm.
the Demons Enter the High Rise. So it's funny that you
No way.
mentioned that.
Funny.
Yeah. That people were like, oh, it's just Demons 2. So there was a connection, you just didn't know it.
That's cool.
Well, one movie I'm going to discuss, it was one that I just thought about earlier this week, and I can't believe it didn't dawn on me, because it's not a movie that people think of as a European horror film, but when I thought about it, I'm like, well, yeah, it is. Yes, it was distributed and financed by an American company, but it's made in England. Almost the entire cast is British. The writer director is British, and even though they try to make it out like it's set in New York, it's obviously in London, and it's without question. I mean, it's my favorite horror movie of all time, so ergo it would be my favorite European horror film of all time, and that's 1987's Hellraiser.
Yes.
Of course, that's what you picked. Of course.
Yeah.
I can't believe it didn't dawn on me, but it's just something that doesn't get discussed as being a British horror film, but very much so, with the exception of two actors, that being Andrew Robinson and Ashley Lawrence. The rest of that cast is British or Irish, and in fact, I think Claire Higgins, who plays Julia, I think she's from Ireland, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, Clive Barker, English, so wrote and directed. So, I mean, I've gone on and on about that movie, but that was a movie. We talk about movies that hit us at a personal time in our lives, and that was one that certainly did with me. I remember the first time I watched it, my mom, who I would only see in the summers, go visit her in California, she was a lot more lenient on what I could watch versus my dad. So she let me rent that one night from the video store. Those places, video stores where you had to go. And but I remember watching it that night and I was expecting one thing. I feared it'd be just another 80s slasher film, which it is not. And I was just so ingrained in it that I had to watch it. When I woke up the next morning, I got to watch this again and see what it is that, because I could tell there's some things going on in that movie that I didn't catch the first time around. And keep in mind, I was only 14 at the time when I watched it. So, but yeah, I mean, that movie gave me everything I would want out of a horror film. It's gothic, it's claustrophobic, because most of it takes place in that small little English house. It's certainly not a house you would see in America, so that's how I knew, wait a second, they're acting like they're in America, but it's clearly in London. And of course, there's the practical effects, the gore, it's disturbing, the performances, I think, across the board by everyone. And then, of course, there's our newest icon, Pinhead, played by Doug Bradley, another Englishman. So the musical scores is one of my favorites. So, yeah, of course, I'm going to pick Hellraiser as one of my favorite European horror films. So,
Yeah, that's so
discuss
interesting because
away.
you're right. It doesn't ever get lumped in with European horror films. You're so right. Like whenever I see people talk about, Euro horror, Hellraiser, I never see it included in those lists or anything, which is really strange because maybe it is because of the fact that it was, financed by Americans. I have no idea, but that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, and I can't believe it never dawned on me till earlier this week when I was like thinking about my list. Go, whoa, wait a second here. Hellraiser is a British horror film for sure. So, anyone else? I know Molly hasn't seen those movies in forever, but Laura, I think you're a Hellraiser fan. What are your thoughts on that?
I love Hellraiser. I think it's a perfect movie. I love Clive Barker though, and I love his brain. I'm like, what is happening in there? Because I just think the he has such a unique, God, and he's so talented that he directed that as well. It just blows my mind, like the idea of the Cenobites. Like, I don't know, all of it, that Julia is so evil, like it's pitch perfect, I think, all of it. Yeah, I adore Hellraiser. And I remember, like, you know, my older brother had a copy of it, and I always remember looking at the cover again and again of Pinhead and just being like, what on earth is like happening here? I think it's a wonderful movie, and I think the practical effects like really hold up. The Cenobites themselves as characters are so creepy and weird, and it has that kind of like cosmic horror. There's so many different. I find it even hard to like put it into a specific subgenre, because it's like, what is it exactly?
Yeah.
Like, there's not many films that you can kind of say, like, you know, it's like this, because it's like sexy and weird and creepy and gross all at the same time.
That's so true.
Oh,
yeah. Very hard to categorize.
Yeah.
And one little tidbit, because I know both Molly and Harry are big Star Trek fans, but Andrew Robinson, who plays Larry in Hellraiser, went on, he played a character in Deep Space Nine, and I forget what the race is called. I almost want to say Kardashians, but no, that's the crazy family that has TV shows. But
but Cardassian is a species and race in Star Trek.
Okay.
The Kardashians are the reality stars, yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry to get him mixed up there, but he like played like he was like on the station. And I think he owned like a clothing store or something like that. But
you're thinking of Garrick. He was a Cardassian, yeah.
Okay, yeah. Should have like a off. They should do like the next Star Trek like TV series. They should call "Keeping Up with the Cardassians."
I would watch that so hard. Like, I'd be there so fast. It's really one of the few like mediums that Star Trek hasn't, to my knowledge. Now, granted, I've kind of fallen out of Star Trek recently, but I don't think that they've really ever done like a found footagey reality TV take on Star Trek. So why not Keeping Up with the Cardassians? That'd be fucking hilarious. I'd watch that.
Hellraiser was one of the first movies I ever reviewed for my college newspaper.
Nice.
And I misspelled Cenobites. I spelled it Sensobites. So I got something in my college mailbox saying, "You misspelled Cenobites, dummy. Try to get it right, okay?" So yeah, that movie has a lot of fond memories for me, and it's great. It is a great movie.
Yeah, it's well, and I'm like saving up my money big time because next year, well, in January in Atlanta, they're having a Days of Dead Horror Con, and of course it's the 40th anniversary of Hellraiser, and practically everyone that's been a part of definitely the first movie and some of the sequels will be there. Hopefully Clive Barker will be there himself, because I have a book I'd like to have him autographed. But I have a big like Hellraiser poster, well, not a big one, but it's got all the characters from the first one, and I'm going to try and get them all autographed. So yeah, so I'm going to try and make it to that. It's going to be in late January of next year. Okay, so I guess we'll go back to you, Laura. What's another European horror film that you really love?
I feel bad because all of mine are really mean-spirited. I don't have any funny ones. Mine
are too, so don't feel bad.
They're all like really miserable and awful. Like, I don't know. I'm very torn. I'm like, should I mention an Irish one? I'm going to mention an Irish one. I feel like I should mention France as well, but I'll mention an Irish one, which is a dark song. And
Nice.
I don't know if it's amazing. It's basically, it's all filmed. There's two characters, and it's filmed in this one house. And the premise is a mother whose son, like child, has been killed, and he employs a magician to do an Abremlin, I think is how you pronounce it, like black magic ritual. Or it's not black magic, it's like magical ritual. So she can meet with her guardian angel. And that's like the premise, and it's crazy, but it's so beautiful. And like I was in tears the whole time watching it. I found it so moving and intense. And it's like very low budget, I think, but really incredible performances and just like weird, just horror so beautiful. It's like a subtle horror. It's a real slow burn, so it's probably not for everybody. But yeah, I love it.
I went to add it to my watch list, but it's already on there, so I'm very excited. Apparently, I must have heard something about it at some point. Yeah, I love the cover artwork for it, and it definitely looks like one of those slow burn, get under your skin kind of films.
Yeah, it is. It is, and I think
to give that one, I'm gonna have like some of you just DM me your recommendations from today's episodes because I'm not gonna remember all of them, but yeah, because I'm like, I wish I could remember the. Oh, here's Harry back. If I could figure out how to do a poll on this, I would do a poll. Do you prefer Harry's avatar, or do you prefer to see Harry live on camera?
No, you
got a lot of compliments on the avatar. Oh, Han Pritchard wanted to ask, what was the title of that movie again, Laura?
It's called A Dark Song. I can't remember I think it might be 2018 or 2016. It was like
I think it's 2018 was what it said when I was looking at it.
Yeah. It's 2018. Yeah, and it's like filmed in Ireland. It's like Ireland England kind of crossover.
Okay.
Really good.
Excellent.
Oh, Han saw it yesterday, he said.
Oh, you just saw it yesterday. Okay.
Well, hopefully you liked it. Did you like it, hon? Slow burn indeed, but pretty damn scary. Nice.
It is scary. It's kind of like, it's maybe it's kind of a cult horror. That's probably how I'd categorize it.
Okay. Excellent. Well, yeah, that sounds great. I'm glad you picked one from Ireland, because I'm always trying to discover certain Irish horror films as well, because that's almost like in a small little corner too.
Yeah.
I have not seen many Irish horror films, and I'm deeply saddened by that. So I'm definitely going to have to give that one at least a watch.
Yeah,
there was one.
Hokum is Irish, and the director's Irish. There's a few. There's like Ferwaka, Oddity. There's a few, but you know.
Oddity is on my watch list too. I know that for sure. So I guess I keep meaning to watch Irish horror movies, and then for some reason, no.
I think Shrooms is one too. I believe it's Irish.
Yeah, Shrooms is. Yeah,
that was a good one.
It's a lot of fun, that one. I remember watching that. Yeah.
Let's see. There was one that I watched a few months ago that I really liked, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. Let's see here. See if I can find it.
is asking if wasn't it based in Wales though? Is he talking about Dark Song?
Yeah, but it's like an Irish production. It's like made by an Irish team.
Wasn't that one? Oh, I'll have to look it up here. Well, the movie I was thinking about, it was about this brother and sister. They're twins, and they live in this old house, and it takes place like early 1900s Ireland, and they can't leave the house, or at least they're not supposed to, because of the spirits and the ghosts of this, and I can't think of the name, but I really enjoyed it.
Marrowbone?
And
is it Marrowbone?
What was that?
Marrowbone?
No, it wasn't. No. It took place like right after World War I Ireland, and I can't. I'm gonna think of it here before too long, but I may have to look back up because I may even wrote something on it. It would have been back in March that I watched it, obviously in preparation for St. Patty's Day, but well, I'll figure it out here. It'll come to me in about 10 minutes from now. But until then, Molly, do you have another crazy European horror film that none of us have seen or would think about seeing?
Well, funny you should say that. No, I mean, it's so hard because I know this is going to be the last one that I talk about. So it was really, really hard to narrow things down. I had a lot of movies that I wanted to talk about, and narrowing them down. This one, I'm sure at least a couple of you have heard of. It's not a super obscure film, but it's just funny that Laura was talking about Mean Spirited because it's one of my favorite. Well, it is probably, well, apart from Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, I think it's my favorite zombie movie ever made. And it's one of my all-time favorite movies. It's also a movie I watch every Christmas. It is also a musical, but it is one of the most emotionally devastating films I've ever seen. And so it presents as this very happy horror comedy, but then when you watch it, it just guts you over and over and over again. And anyway, it's Anna and the Apocalypse.
Oh,
I know that it's not the most popular movie in the world. A lot of people can't get past the musical aspect of it. It does have a very young cast, so a lot of, viewers that are kind of older, like many of us are, can't really connect with it as well. But I felt like that would be a good choice to go out on for me because it's also repping Scotland, which we really haven't had a lot of rep for Scotland today. And it was a UK production, so it wasn't just a Scottish production, but principal photography was done in Scotland, and I know that several of the actors are Scottish. But I absolutely love it. My boyfriend was a huge fan, and he doesn't normally like Christmas movies of any kind. And so I had to see it because I had to see why is this your exception? Why is this the one Christmas movie that you're a fan of? And we watched it together, and I cried through the whole last half hour of the movie. It was just so, I don't know, it just gutted me. And so yeah, again, I know it's not the most popular choice. It's not a scary movie, but it is a very, I think, emotionally impactful one. And I really love things that present as really happy, but are actually super depressing. I'm a big fan of that, and that's what Anna and the Apocalypse does. And so yeah, I just think it's a brilliant, brilliant film. So that would be my third.
Come up on Scare Stack a little while ago. It was one of the Scare Stack films, I think, maybe in the Christmas series.
For the Christmas, somebody else snagged it. It was going to be the one that I wanted. It was the one I wanted to write about. Somebody else snagged it, so I ended up doing Silent Night, Deadly Night. But I was so glad. I can't remember who wrote about it, but I'm really glad that it fell to them because I remember absolutely loving their review of it. They seem to love it as much as I do, so I was happy.
I've seen it once, and me not being a big musical fan, but I liked it for what it was. I think I know my daughter, who's kind of into horror, but not really. She does love musicals, so she really dug it. So
yeah, it's definitely kind of coded for a younger crowd, but yeah. I don't know, the soundtrack to that movie. I listen to that soundtrack when I'm walking sometimes. When I just go out and take a walk, I'll listen to Human Voice and some of the other songs from the movie soundtrack because I just think I don't know, I think it's fantastic. And no Christmas is complete without it. It's Christmas, Anna and the Apocalypse and Dr. Mordred. Those are the two movies I watch every year on Christmas. So
there you go. All right. Okay. On to you. I'm trying to think who's next here. George, you have another one for us.
Sure. Rawhead Rex. No, kidding. I just watched that, and it was very entertaining. It's not a great movie though. There's a movie called Ghost Watch in the early '90s.
Love Ghost Watch. Love it.
Yeah. That was really ahead of its time, and it's about the BBC does this. I guess it's a Halloween special at this house where people are seeing there's poltergeist activity, and the movie has a lot of twists and turns, and it's kind of foresaw all the reality shows that came afterwards. And it's also a really creepy movie that and it has a really great cast. The guy from Red Dwarf is in it. I can't remember his name, but it has this really great cast, and it's a that's a movie I'm surprised is not like better known.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Yeah, it's so good. I would definitely put Ghostwatch on several different lists of favorites, and it is weird that people don't mention it more often.
I think it's very beloved over in the UK, isn't it, Harry?
Is
Like,
it?
Absolutely,
yeah, it's very like over here. I think it's really like well regarded.
I mean, I feel like it's our version of the H.G. Wells War of the Worlds stuff, like the
Yeah,
radio broadcast in the 30s,
Yes.
which
Yeah.
is in the States, right? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's our version of that, really.
That's so funny. Yeah, we don't get. I don't know. We're sheltered over here, so it's not. I never hear people talk about Ghostwatch over here. It's really sad.
I just think it's not widely distributed here for some reason.
Yeah,
The first time I ever heard of it was on Shudder, and I watched it on Shudder, and I mean, I had never heard of it before, and it was like, wow, it's a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched it live. I remember it being, because it was released in
No
1990. So I was 8 at the time.
Oh my god.
And it had a precursor. Apparently it said that it was a mockumentary. I do not remember that being a precursor to it. I am absolutely terrified.
Oh my gosh.
And like Harry mentioned, it became our War of the Worlds because unfortunately somebody did commit suicide after watching that, because they genuinely thought that ghosts had come into their own home.
Oh my god.
TV
Wow.
Wow.
So that might be why its distribution to other countries might have been limited. Here at the time. Yeah, I was absolutely terrified. But it's based on the Enfield hauntings, which is the premise of the Conjuring 2 films. So it's what they used for that film, and it started my lifelong obsession with the Enfield hauntings. And there's a wonderful Sky documentary called The Enfield Hauntings that has Timothy Spall in it, and if you really enjoy Ghostwatch, I highly recommend seeking that out. It's a 3-part dramatization, and I think the episode's about an hour and a half each. It was done on Sky here in the UK, so I don't know where it would be distributed in the.
What's it called again? Sorry.
It's called The Enfield Hauntings. It's got Timothy Spall in it, so if you search that as well.
It's currently free on YouTube.
There you go. I highly recommend.
There you go.
Okay, bookmarking that. That sounds awesome. That's so crazy that people thought it was real. It's like when the Blair Witch Project came out and we had people literally driving up to Burkittsville, Maryland to look for the kids. It's just so strange. You know, when you hear those stories, it's so hard to imagine it unless you were there. But like you said, you know, you saw Ghostwatch when you were so young. You thought it was real. I was one of the idiots who thought the Blair Witch Project was real. And it's so funny, too, because you can only pull those pranks like once every few decades. You know, it's like it's a trick you can only pull once, you know.
I think what happened in the UK, though, was with it. I think with it filmed, to me, it's not it is a program. Those people who are respected, reporters, actors, these are people that are very respected in their field as journalists. Then sort of perpetuated that it must be real.
Wow.
Journalists, these aren't actors.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Awesome. We got a really great list of different types of movies. And by the way, Han answered me, and I did find it. That movie is called The Lodgers from 2017.
Okay.
It's a pretty good movie. I like was discovering it because oftentimes when I'm like trying to write a period piece, I try to seek out movies just to kind of get the atmosphere in my head and the dialect in my head a little bit. And that was one that I watched that I really enjoyed. So The Lodgers from 2017, that was the movie I was trying to think of. Okay, let's see here. Harry, do you have another one for us?
I'm going to go ahead and say the BBC Ghost Stories for Christmas that I covered in December. Those
Okay.
are so good. They're like Charles Dickens and M.R. James and stuff. It's generally the same writers and directors throughout. It's in the sort of early to late 70s. I mean, they rebooted it around, I don't know, a decade ago. And now you've got like Mark Gatiss and, you know, that sort of type running it. But it's just classic. It's like short, maybe 40 minutes to an hour, deliver a ghost story in a creepy atmosphere. They're all quite intense, but nothing that you couldn't show to a kid, probably. It's just brilliant. They're so easy to revisit. They're such a Christmas staple for me now. And I think they're probably not that widely distributed either, which is a shame. Also, shout out to Dog Soldiers as well.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's another good one.
Yeah.
That is a good one. Dog Soldier.
A banger.
Is that I'll whistle? Is it a whistle and I will? You will whistle and I will come, or something? Is that?
Whistle and I'll come to you.
That's
That's
one.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I remember.
Yeah, that's so creepy, and you're so right, Harry. Like you could let a kid watch it because nothing really happens that's gory or gruesome, but it's so unnerving.
Atmospheric rather than
Yes.
a jump scary type.
Yes.
M.R.
Excellent.
James was
Okay.
great.
Yeah.
He wrote some really very, very creepy stories, ghost stories. Like
Yeah.
Drag Me to Hell is based on one of his stories. The
Oh,
Runes.
wow.
Casting the Runes, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, Casting the Runes, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I need
Well-
to see that.
What do you call Casting the Runes then? We're going back to Night of the Demons or
Yeah.
Curse of the Demons, which
Yeah.
I think it is in the States.
Yeah, excellent. Yeah, I did not know that was based off of that. Drag Me to Hell was based off a book. So excellent. Well, one movie that we haven't discussed yet, when I was like kind of putting off to the side, is from 1977, Dario Argento's Suspiria, and that's a movie that, I mean, you want to talk about looking like a piece of art that's come to life. I mean, there really aren't that many kills, but the kills that they do have are definitely, I mean, they make it count. And the use of lighting, I've heard John Carpenter say that Argento's use of lighting, he incorporated a little bit in both Halloween and was also used a little bit in Halloween 2. And you can see that in certain shots of Michael with the blue lighting and so forth. And of course, you know, Argento used red lighting, green lighting, just about any type of lighting, and it just fantastic. It's such
And the music playing every couple of seconds.
Oh yeah, and Carpenter said too when he wrote the score of Halloween, he was somewhat influenced by Goblin's score of Suspiria. You can hear it a little bit too in his Halloween score. So it's a movie that's heralded as probably one of my favorite, I guess, witchcraft horror movies.
Yeah.
It's just, and it's very unnerving. You know, Italian horror films aren't necessarily known for always having the greatest performances, because for some reason Argento and Fulci's the same way, never really gave a shit about the acting. You know, they figured they were just their attitude was just read the lines. But in this particular movie, and maybe once again it would be better if you could actually, you know, see it in its actual Italian version with subtitles versus the overdubbing. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a classics, one of my favorites of all time. So it's one I knew I was hoping someone would mention it, but I guess I'll be the one that does that. I like the character, your final girl in the movie. She's really great in it, I think, and it's just a very weird. I love the ending to it too. Basically, ends up burning down the whole schoolhouse, and it's just a very eerie, disturbing movie throughout. Just has that tone that you would want in a horror film, and of course, the score, of course, is amazing. One of the best scores ever. Just goes to show how much a score can add to the atmosphere of a movie. And yeah, that is one of my favorites. I think it's a masterpiece. So talk away if you guys have anything else to add about Suspiria.
Yeah, I absolutely love it as well. Definitely a classic. One of the earlier horror movies that I watched, again, as part of like my horror journey and developing my identity as a horror fan. Suspiria was a huge part of that. Interestingly, for me anyway, because in Suspiria you have both Udo Kier and Stefania Cassini, who for a long time were two of my favorite actors because I had seen them before I saw Suspiria in Paul Morrissey's Blood for Dracula, which was one of the movies I almost mentioned tonight, but I wasn't sure if I should because technically it was written and directed by an American and it was financed by Andy Warhol, who was an American. But it was obviously it was shot in Italy, and most of the actors were Italian, and they were actually just people that were picked off the street. They weren't even actors, and they even Stefania Cassini and the actual actors in the film were just reading their lines phonetically because they couldn't speak English. Which I think is really interesting. It was part of that whole experimental, cinema, in the early 70s. I think that's amazing. But anyway, the point is I fell in love with Udo Kier, as you guys know, if you've seen my Substack, I have written about him a lot, but also Stefania Cassini. And so that's why I saw Suspiria to begin with, was because they were both in it. Obviously, Udo Kier's not in it very much, and they dub his voice, which is very tragic because he had such a beautiful voice. But, and then wound up just... that really launched me into a phase of hunting down these sort of widely beloved European films that were praised for their aesthetic more than anything else. And when you were saying earlier at the beginning of our conversation about the distinct look and feel of European films, I do think that it's such a broad thing, that it's really hard to say, but I think when you say European horror, people picture Suspiria. At least here in the States, that's what we think of. So yeah, it's just iconic and I love it. And
Yeah, and just go ahead.
Oh, I remember watching it and being like, why is there barbed wire in the dance school? But it's a great.
Yeah, what was that doing there?
Yeah, they just left it around. I think that's a movie that, to me, I love that movie also. I don't think it really has a plot, but it doesn't need a plot. Like that's kind of what blows my mind about that movie. It's like you have a situation, and yeah, it's a great. I didn't see that till I was like 40, and yeah, I was disappointed. It was a shame that I waited so long.
Oh, it's worth the wait, though.
Yeah, no, it was.
Yeah. I didn't see the first Exorcist until I was like 36 or 37. So, sometimes you gotta wait for the good ones, I guess.
I was probably about 20, I want to say 24 maybe when I saw Suspiria, so it was about late 90s that I first saw it, because it was during that phase where I was kind of tuning out of American horror at that time. And I kept on hearing about Italian horror, so I figured, well, I guess I'll take this time to go back and watch a bunch of Italian horror films, and Suspiria was one of them. So, and back then we didn't have streaming services, so you'd have to go to. They were a lot harder to find. You'd have to couldn't even find. It was hard to find them even in a place like Blockbuster. You'd have to go to like these small mom and pop video store rental places where they had that section of foreign and Italian horror section to find stuff like that. So
horror conventions had a lot of that too. They had a lot of the videos. Mm-hmm. That's where I picked up a lot of those movies.
Yeah.
But it's funny, we talked earlier about how Giallos often showed you the killer in the opening scenes, and you didn't really realise that. With Suspiria, it's telling you in the soundtrack what the twist is, because it's repeating the word witch, and you don't realise until towards the end, it's telling you at the beginning what you're to expect.
Yeah, because Suspiria starts off like a typical Giallo film with that double murder of those two girls getting killed, and then it becomes totally something else. It goes the whole supernatural route, which is kind of brilliant, I think. Kind of subverted your expectations of what that film starts off to be and what it ends up being.
Especially with it being Argento as well, who was known at that point for the Giallos as well. So it was ready to make that assumption of what you were going to get.
Exactly. Anyone else got some thoughts on Suspiria?
I think I was like 20 when I saw it, and you know, it's just, I haven't revisited it since. Still feels like so many films that you guys review or talk about even say, I'm like, what? Because I'm just so new to it all, despite having probably like 10 years of trying to get through the horror films now. I'm still way behind, but it is just a classic. Like the music, the stuff with the maggots, you know. It's just one thing after another. You never get a dull moment in Suspiria. It's just like relentless. It's a bit almost like Texas Chainsaw Massacre level of like you're just sat in your seat like, oh god.
Yeah.
What's going to
it's a
happen
very
next?
oppressive movie.
Yeah, exactly. Love it. I do need to re-see it, but I think I'll wait till I'm doing other Giallo. It can be the big one.
I'll be probably in a few weeks. I'll probably be watching it again along with its sequel Inferno, and then what was it, Mother of Tears, I think is what the third one was, which didn't come out till like 2007 or something like that. I'm not sure why Argento waited so long to do the third one of that, but
my mom sent me a copy of that on DVD like 10 years ago, and I've still never watched it. It's just been sitting on my shelf for 10 years. And
which one is that?
Mother of Tears.
I'll be honest, it's not a great movie in that this is the era where Argento started messing around with like CGI a little bit. But I will say this, the movie itself is good. I mean, it's got a decent enough story to keep you. His daughter, Asia Argento, she stars in it, in this one. So it's not bad. It's a good, it certainly is part of that whole lore of the Three Witches, the Three Witches trilogy, as they call it. Once again, had he made it in, say, 1987 or something like that, it probably would have been better because he would have relied more on practical effects. So I don't know. I heard someone, I think it was Terrorflix, said something that Argento is producing another trilogy of movies, not directing it, but I forget what they were called. But if you follow her on Substack, well, I think most of us do, she's always good at bringing up like what's coming up next. And I guess he's got something, here he is 98,000 years old or however old he is, and he's still making movies one way or another. So Laura, were you a fan of Suspiria?
Yeah, I think Suspiria, what's interesting though is controversially I prefer the remake. So
Laura, and I like Laura, you like Hellraiser, so I'm gonna like
let me
we'll
wait
call
with
it
that.
a balance.
I think like Suspiria is like a vibes movie. It's all vibes. It's no real plot, but it's all vibes.
It's like what George said. There's not much of a story anyway. So
But it's gorgeous, and it's like the music is incredible. I think it's really lovely. But I think I do love it. But when I think of Suspiria, I always think of the new one. That's just the one that one has my heart more. But of course I like Suspiria.
Excellent. Okay. Well, are there any other movies? I hope got everyone included on these 3 rounds here. So, anyone else have any other movies they would like to discuss that we haven't had a chance to yet?
I have one.
Okay.
And I guess I was just, I think maybe I just sort of think that this movie is more beloved than it actually is. But we were talking at the beginning of the chat about folk horror, and you were mentioning, and especially with Laura bringing up The Wicker Man as well, but just like that there is something about, for me, folk horror that is actually, set, shot in certain parts of Europe that just feels more right than folk horror coming from other parts of the world, if that makes sense. Like, it just feels like folk horror belongs to certain parts of Europe. And one of the films that I think, at least visually, reinforces that idea for me is The Ritual. And I really enjoyed that film, and I was surprised nobody brought it up. But again, sometimes I'll think a movie's really popular, and then I'll like look up its score on Rotten Tomatoes and be like, oh, people hate that. I didn't know that. So, but I think that The Ritual is a really incredible film, and I loved. I loved the overall look and feel of it, and the melancholy of the film, and it definitely has that sort of grief meets folk horror kind of thing going on. And I love the idea of like the ancient pagan monster in the woods. And I don't know, it was just very cool and very creepy. Not scary, but it gave me the wig. I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
And I think it's a British horror film, is it not? Or am I wrong?
Yeah,
I was thinking it was American.
No, but I think they go on their hiking trip in somewhere in Scandinavia, is it?
Well, I think it was supposed to be, they were supposed to be on their trip in someplace like Norway or something like that. But I think it was actually shot in Romania. I don't know. I'll have to look it up. But I know that the cast was predominantly British, because I think they were all from London, and they come... on this trip. So that's why I don't know if it really counts as Euro horror, but I think of it as a British movie. Sweden.
I always think I think it's because, a lot of it is set in London too. It feels like the cast is like, it's like a lad's trip, isn't it?
It's like, they go out for like a guy's weekend because this man has had this tragic thing happen, and so they're trying to kind of cheer him up. And so they're all friends from London who go off on this trip. And I don't know. I just think it's really interesting. And especially because, like, I think emotional expression is such a huge theme in that movie, too, because you have these men that are experiencing these different emotions that they aren't expressing. And so those are kind of manifesting themselves as monsters in the woods, which I thought was very cool. I don't know. I love it. I think it was really great.
It's based on a novel by English writer Adam Neville.
Adam Neville. Yeah, he did another one that got a movie recently. Oh God, what was it? It was also really good.
Everyone.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, nobody gets out.
Go ahead.
Nobody gets out alive.
Nobody gets out alive. See, I really enjoyed that one too, and I like that they were connected with the similar mythology. Maybe I just need to read Adam Neville. I don't know. I like what he does as a storyteller.
I recommend reading his books. I've read both The Ritual and Nobody Gets Out Alive. Nobody Gets Out Alive the book is brutal. I've not seen the film, mainly because the book is set in Birmingham, and for some reason they've set the film in America, and I'm going, well, what was the point of that then? So
yeah, that was weird. It's set in America, and the main character is she's not American. She's South American. I think she's from Mexico or Colombia. I hate that I don't remember what country she's from, but so it's set in America. The main character is from South America. So it's interesting that they brought it over here when that doesn't really make much sense. It could have just been set in Birmingham. Yeah.
He also
it's a class war type thing in the book with the rich and the poor. So I can see then if one of the characters is from South America going into America, I can see how they might have then tweaked that sort of what we would have like as the class issue to maybe more of an immigration issue then.
Yes, they did do that for the film, for sure, because that is a very big part of the movie, is that she is an immigrant. So, I mean, if I remember correctly, I've only seen it once, but I remember I definitely distinctly remember her country of origin being a big part of her character. So, they may have just chosen to do it that way.
He wrote a great novel called Last Days also.
Okay.
He's a really good writer.
No.
And once again, this goes to what I was like talking about here. We just now mentioned just a few movies just now that were all based on books. Let's start seeing more of that, instead of making movies that maybe we should just leave alone. So,
well, and there are so many talented authors out there that are still, we still are seeing tons of horror books every year from new authors. It's weird that we aren't seeing more adaptations. I completely agree with that.
Oh.
There's plenty of material out there people could be adapting.
Maybe we just start our own horror studio and just do that. So, go ahead. Okay, I was going to say, go for it.
Yeah, so one of the films I wanted to talk about was a film called Darklands, and it seems fitting because we're kind of going full circle with this kind of Wicker Man analogy. So this film is set in Wales. It's set in kind of early 90s, and it's about a gentleman who left Wales, went to work in London, felt that he was better than all the people he left behind because he didn't speak Welsh, he moved on, he bettered himself, but circumstances meant that he had to return to his homeland, which is still just predominantly speaks Welsh. He's isolated in his own homeland because he chose to be different. It's to do with the coal mines, how they are dying out, and it's basically called the Welsh version of the command for a reason, and it soon becomes apparent that he hasn't back here just solely for circumstances. There is a reason why he's been brought back, and instead of for the harvest they want to bring back into the coal. I mean, early 90s, it's sort of grungy, dirty feel to it. The soundtrack is very industrial music. It's not the greatest film in the world, but I just love the idea of taking this sort of ancient magic, sort of putting it to something modern, to a modern industrial kind of realization of the town, whereas a lot of the magic is usually in woods and forests and that. Well, what happens when we take that magic and we apply it to our industry? Will it have the same power that it has for our country? And the film kind of indicates yes it does.
Added it to my watch list. I think it looks fun.
Yeah, that sounds really good. I haven't heard of it.
That's why I host these things, so I can add more movies to my already ever expansive watch list.
Most
but
definitely.
That sounds really intriguing, though, too. So, Darklands. That's really good. Well, thanks for that. Well, between that and Slugs, you got me hooked.
Oh, yeah.
Beverly.
Not to play favorites, but the very first movie I'm watching that we talked about today is Slugs. 100%. That's going to be the first one I watch. They're all great.
They're all terrific. So,
yeah.
Excellent. Well, I was going to say here before we wrap things up, I know I've seen this couple posts here in the last couple days. Laura and Harry, looks like you two have looks like you guys have some posts coming up that you guys are working on.
Yeah. So tomorrow it's coming out. We did a joint, and it was after we were on our Hangouts before that we were like, we should collaborate on something. So we have both reviewed Undertone, which was really fun. And I think we both watched it in different ways as well. It actually didn't even show in Ireland for ages, and then it showed in one cinema in Dublin that I couldn't get to. So, but so that's going to be published tomorrow.
I can't wait.
Excellent.
I also watched it at home, by the way.
Did you?
Yeah.
I was going to ask, but I don't think it took from. I actually think because of the movie, it was, I had really good headphones on, and I think it made it really creepy. It was good.
See, I haven't seen the movie yet, so.
It's
but I'll probably skim through it a little bit just so I don't spoil it. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that'll look good. See, Beverly, what do you have coming up? Anything? Are you working on another book or got anything plans?
Yeah, so the second A to Z is currently with a proofreader. So I've had a few comments back. Apparently, there's not that much that needs altering, so hopefully it shouldn't be too much further. And I'm also writing two other books because why write one at a time.
Hmm.
Also writing the third book in the series of A to Z of So Bad They're Good, etc. But I'm also writing a book on wonderfully weird films, so it's not just horror films. It's films that might be overlooked because they're not mainstream. So
Oh, that's speaking my language. I'm gonna have to read that. Yeah.
So I've got a whole section on musicals, so you'd be
Nice.
happy with that.
Oh.
Then there's still horror predominantly because that's what I watch the most. But then there's kung fu movies, there's weird westerns, there's just
And where do you sell your
Okay.
books? Where are they available?
Unfortunately just Amazon because
Okay.
it
No,
is-
that's great to know, though. That's good because yeah, that's awesome.
Unfortunately, you have to sometimes get that to be seen. You have to be with the biggest company.
Right.
Yeah, unfortunately, I know that feeling too.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Molly, what do you have? Anything new? Anything coming up on Substack? I know aren't you back in class again?
Yeah, I was so scared you were going to ask me that because I wish I had more to say. I right now I'm doing full time. I've got 4 classes going through this summer, and then I'm also on I hate this phrase. I hate it. I'm on a fitness journey. So I'm working out like 2 to 3 hours a day on top of taking my classes, and it's been really great, but it has cut into my writing time a lot. I still have, I'm sitting on like 15 drafts in Substack right now, and I really want to get back to the cultography series so that I can finally review Beyond Reanimator, which is, one of my all-time favorite, everybody hates this movie, but I love it movies. And then not to draw any focus at all from the very exciting collab with Laura and Harry, but Harry and I are also going to be collaborating next month on another Star Trek thing, which I'm very excited about. Yep, so very excited about that. So yeah, but I have not been writing as much as I would like, but I don't want to force it too much either. And right now, sorry, I promise I'll shut up, but the 4 classes I'm taking now, I'm finally done with all of my prereqs and everything for my bachelor's degree program. So this summer is the first time I have had 4 journalism classes at the same time. So I'm doing a ton of writing for school, and that has made it very difficult for me to write for fun, if that makes sense. So yeah, I just haven't been doing it as much. But,
yeah, hard time I get is, I spend like anywhere from 8 to 9 hours during the day staring at a computer screen and then trying to come home to get myself to write. It's becoming a bit of a chore. So it's like, well, I just want to hit the lotto so I can just do writing all the time and not have to worry about holding a job that I hate. So you have to pay those things called mortgage payment, stuff like that. You have to they kind of like want their money. So, George, what do you have anything coming up this week on your Substack?
Well, I think I'm going to do movies about liminal spaces because that seems to be there seems to be a lot of movies coming out about that. And I think it's really interesting topic. And I think there's a lot of material. I'm also doing movies for Mental Health Awareness Month, which ends tomorrow. But I think I'm going to do a couple more movies on that, and then I'll move into liminal spaces, and then something probably like When Animals Attack for the summer. Sharks.
George, have you been doing movies for mental health awareness all month?
No. What happened? I have I've done 3 of them, I believe. I haven't done a lot of them yet.
Oh man, I haven't seen any of them coming up. I love Substack, but man, I miss some stuff sometimes with the whole feed thing, and I really need to check those out. So I'm very curious to see what you wrote.
I did the Haunting, the original Haunting,
Nice.
which is really good. And then I tried to watch the remake, and I made it 50 minutes through, and that movie broke me. I might do Psycho. I think the Babadook is probably a pretty good choice. Maybe even Hereditary.
Yeah.
So there are a bunch of. I wish I hadn't done Messiah of Evil a couple of months ago, because that movie is like big time. A lot of material in that movie. So.
Well, I think I was actually just thinking. Hold on, let me check and make sure I know where it was filmed, because I think it might actually be an Irish horror film. It is. Ha! I have seen an Irish horror film. There's a movie from 2012 called Citadel. That I would recommend checking out if you're interested in films that really kind of tackle mental health. I mean, not that you asked for recommendations, but it was one of the first things when I hear like, oh, I'm reviewing films for mental health awareness, my mind immediately went to Citadel, and then it hit me that, oh my God, I think that's an Irish movie. But it's a really interesting horror film set in a high rise. And it also dabbles in the realm of agoraphobia, although they never call it that. But it's just a really interesting film that I would recommend for that. So.
Okay, I will take a look. I see it here on the Internet Movie Database. So thank you.
No problem. Apparently, it's an Irish film, but it was filmed in Glasgow, Scotland. So, Glasgow?
Okay.
Glasgow. I don't know how to pronounce it.
Glasgow, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
I've got, I'm going to start, now I'm at least done with the rough drafts of all 8 stories of my next book, but I'm going to try and granted I got a lot of editing, proofreading to do, but I'm going to start this series on Substack where I'm going to basically be writing and reviewing horror trilogies, especially those that don't get talked a lot. So I'm rewatching, or I just finished rewatching the Warlock trilogy. So I will maybe get something out Monday or Tuesday on that, and then I'll be doing the original Hatchet trilogy, Argento's.
Sorry,
yes. And I know there is a 4th. Yeah, I know there is a 4th film, which I, believe it or not, have not seen. But I just don't.
Seen it? Oh, it's so fun. I recommend it.
Well, I'm sure it is. It's just I didn't see what's the point? Because those 3 movies, told one complete story, and I just didn't see a point to having a 4th one.
The point is that Adam Green wanted to do it, and so did Kane Hodder, and that's all that matters. If Kane Hodder and Adam Green want to keep making movies together, then we just need to let them, because it is beautiful.
Well, I am going to watch at some point, but mainly I was going to focus, but also going to do Argento's 3 Mothers trilogy, Fulci's Gates of Hell trilogy, another Italian movies that we didn't discuss, but then I will do your beloved Reanimator trilogy at some point, so I'm going to have to really up my A game, or else you're going to probably come down here and kick my ass. But
well, I mean, if you are one of the 98% of people in the world who hate Beyond Reanimator, we might have one. But no, I love it. You don't? So. Oh, good. Okay, good.
I really like all 3 of them.
I love it, but no, I love it. I write and think about, I live and breathe Reanimator. It's not like a gimmick. I really think about the movie and rewatch it over and over again. Like it's an obsession. And so I love when other people write about Reanimator, because I'm sick of hearing myself talk about it. So I'm always excited to hear other people's thoughts on Reanimator.
Right. So those will be some of the trilogies. I'll probably also do Ty West's X trilogy of X, Pearl, and Maxine, and maybe the original Evil Dead trilogy at some point.
I actually have a question for the group real quick, because you're talking about doing like your trilogies, and George was talking about doing like specific things for each month, and just series that we've done in the past, have any of you guys been able to figure out like an optimal way to do like a table of contents? We can talk about this offline, like when we're off live if you want to, but like I am struggling with that so hard.
I just copied every single link.
You want to do it off live?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that.
Okay.
Anyway, but first of all, I want to thank everyone that joined us today and everyone that ends up watching this later on. It was great having everyone on. I'm glad glad to have our friends from across the pond back on here. So it's all can be a little bit of a struggle time-wise, but fortunately I had some free time on this Saturday to do this, so to do this early enough. So the one that's always hard to get is Kimberly B, who lives in Indonesia, because she's like 18 hours ahead of us or something crazy like that. But it was great having her on that Friday night one there, because she was like just waking up as we were leaving. So anyhow, but thanks everyone. We'll have another episode here later in June, and until then, good afternoon everyone, and good evening.
Bye.
Bye.